clean up, clean up, clean up, clean up, Lesson 13. I'm feeling pretty mean, and my money's really green. I'm trying to get lean. I feel like clean up and aisle my pants. Okay. All right. Today's a lesson I feel like a lot of people need because I get asked about it frequently. I'm going to show how I decide where I put my stop loss, when I trail my stop loss and why, and how I set my take profits. Okay? Shouldn't be a long class, but it is one that a lot of people ask about, so Ariane is on dick right now. Unbelievable. All right. Well, let's get into it, man. So, hang on. Yeah. So, realistically, all you need is order flow, bro. That's how you decide where you're putting your stop loss. That's literally it. But whenever I say that, people, and I talked about this in the order flow video too, but no one seems to understand. So, when I say order flow, like I told you guys, order flow tells you which direction the market is currently trading towards and what we currently want. But it also tells you where you can get in. This is low-key a skippable class. So I'll end the live right now. You guys want me to end the live? I can end the live right now. All right. So I'll use my trade from today as an example. All right. So this trade right here, I took off the order block with stops above the order block. So let's talk originally why my stop loss is above the order block. Because we already filled this fair value gap, and prior to that, we already filled this fair value gap. So we clearly have bearish order flow. We're respecting bearish PD raise, and there's no imbalances above price except all the way up here. But it is not logical that we will reach this fair value gap. So we know that realistically, this should be a PD array that holds. Because if we're going to maintain the bearish order flow, we should respect bearish PD raise, and this is the next bearish PD array in line, since this fair value gap already got played into. So you can enter on this fair value gap with stops above it, feeling pretty confident in the fact that it's going to hold. But this is where people struggle. When should you remove your stop loss to break even? I'll give you a hint. It's not when you get your first take profit. Okay? That's not how that works. Your stop loss, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I'm telling you how I operate. I moved my stop loss above this order block once we got this displacement. So we got this move down, boom, and I put my stop loss above that order block even though my take profit was midnight open. Wait, why is it not showing? Oh, it is. This is midnight open right here. So that's my take profit. And then on this displacement, I moved my stop loss, which is almost break even but not at break even above this order block. Why did I feel safe to put it above this order block? Because of order flow. If we're going to maintain bearishness, that means we're going to continue to respect the bearish PD raise. What are the only bearish PD raise that haven't been interacted with yet? This order block and this fair value gap, and they're also in a premium of this price leg. So if we're going to keep shorting, we're not going to disrespect this price leg. So I can put stops above the 0.79, which is also above the order block, and you can expect this fair value gap and this order block to hold and continue setting us down if you're right about the drawn liquidity. So you're just trailing your stop loss with order flow. You're putting your stop loss at the most logical point. We shouldn't book this if we're going to be short because that would be the start of bullish order flow. I got in and put stops above whatever order block it was, this order block, for the exact same reason. We already filled this fair value gap and got a displacement. There's no reason to disrespect the order block. So I trailed my stop loss. And then once we took midnight open right here, I trailed my stop loss here. Actually, I trailed it a lot lower, but like, yeah, I mean, I did this order block. You can do this order block too, because realistically, like I said, if we're gonna maintain bearishness and go get our draws on liquidity, we're not gonna disrespect bearish PD raise. That's all it is. So we're not gonna pull up and disrespect this fair value gap in this order block and then go short. But if we do, you don't want to be in the market anymore. So now you can trail your stop loss in profit. and then you just continue to follow order flow. That's all it is. So I'll show more examples just in case it doesn't make sense, but that's literally all it is. Let's see, let's find another example. I've only been shorting lately, I feel like. Oh no, I definitely longed yesterday. Da 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 da, clean with me. Okay. So yesterday, this is where I got long. Okay, so in this scenario, where's my starting stop loss and why? My stop loss is below this imbalance, but way below this inverse value gap. I put it here because, well, if you want to know the reasons why I entered, you have to go watch the recap. But SMT, bullish, daily profile, bullish around liquidity. So that's why I'm long. Okay, so if I'm right about all of that, realistically, this fair value gap should hold. We should not disrespect this fair value gap because we've already done what we need to do at this low. So I can feel safe with stops. I don't even need to put it at the wick. I can feel safe with stops below the imbalance because we should not only respect the fair value gap, but respect the inverse fair value gap as well. So I'm in there with stops below there because it's in line with order flow, right? So next, when do I go break even? I didn't go break even when we took this high. That's not what happened. I did not go break even when we took this high. I went break even when we closed above this down candle and made it an order block, which is this candle. So just because we took this high doesn't mean I'm going to break even immediately. When I had something defending my position, that's when I moved it to break even. So, and like I said, it always goes back to order flow. So in this scenario, when we get this candle close, if we are bullish, and I'm right about the draw on liquidity, which was up here, are we going to come back down, disrespect this fair value gap, and disrespect this order block? No, it's not going to happen. We're going to respect bullish PD rates. So you can feel safe with your stop loss below it, which was your break-even point. You didn't go break-even because you got your first take profit. That's not why you went break-even. It's because it's a well-protected stop loss. You always want your stop loss to be well-protected. Common rule of thumb, always have 2 PD rates between where the market is and where your stop loss is. That's always a pretty safe bet. So then from there, when did I continue to trail my stop loss? So we got this candle close, okay, got another displacement, pulled into this fair value gap. At this point, you can feel safe putting your stop loss here now, even though there's a fair value gap below. But why can you do that? Because of the range. So at this point, I mean, we could pull back. I guess it's not at the 0.79. You could put it like at the 0.79 or like below this fair value gap, I guess. But in this scenario, it's the same thing. It's not realistic that we're going to disrespect this order block and disrespect this order block and this fair value gap and this fair value gap just to get down here when there's nothing to really book and draw on liquidities like within reach. So if you want to be, if you always, or if you want to be like, if you want to be extra aggressive about your trailing stop loss, you can definitely put it below this order block. I wouldn't put it below this one. But then once we got the reaction out of this fair value gap, if you want, like I said, if you want to be aggressive about trailing your stop loss, you could do it here because once we get this candle close above, now we have order block, and not only do we have an order block, we had a low that did what it needed to do, which was fill this fair value gap. So it's defended, but it's higher risk of you getting stopped out because you're in a deep premium. Like we could always retrace, you know. So if you want to trail aggressively, you can do that, but if you want to always be protected, then just be down here. Allow for everything to happen. Don't just go moving your stop loss because we moved a certain bit or because you got first take profit. That's not how that works. So that might be confusing, and if it is, just watch the order flow class. Because if you understand the order flow class, then basically all I'm telling you is to align your stop loss with order flow. That's literally it. So if you don't understand what I just said, go watch the order flow class, make sure you understand it. And then remember the sentence that I just said. Align your stop loss with order flow. Okay? Now, next, with take profits. Take profits typically are always going to be based on drawing liquidity for me. I used to make it to where I would take some off at a set risk to reward, but I did stop doing that. I now usually only take profit when it's like my drawn liquidity. There's no reason. I mean, it's up to you. It's up to how you want to do it. Me personally, I don't think it makes sense for you to take your profit off if you have a draw on liquidity and it's not booked yet. Like there's no reason. So, I mean, if you just want to, then you just have to align it with the risk management class, like I said yesterday, to make sure you're like staying profitable. So, like I said, for me, I don't typically take profit anything less than a 2 risk reward. So just don't do anything less than that, and then you're chilling. But me personally, I think it makes way more sense to just always take profit at the draw on liquidity. So that's not really too complicated of a thing. I'm just figured I'd throw it in since we're talking about stop losses. But the main thing is aligning your stop loss with order flow. That is like one of the most slept on things that nobody really talks about. Like how D-Town just said, he used to always hit first take profit and then get stopped out and the market would go in his direction. It's because you didn't move your stop loss to somewhere logical. Like always, when you're moving your stop loss, always think about it as if it's a new position. If you were entering a new position, where would you want your stop loss? Where would it be the most protected, and does it align with order flow? That's how it should always be. It shouldn't just be break even because you got to take profit, you know? So, yeah, man. I mean, this isn't a long class, and then, like I said, there's not much I can show you examples of take profits, but it's literally just drawn liquidity. So if you understand the drawn liquidity, like we talked about, take profits at your drawn liquidity, or if you want to take profit at a set risk reward or partial at a set risk reward, you can do that. But I'd recommend just taking profits at your drawn liquidity, because you have drawn liquidity, for example. I mean, you have drawn liquidity like for a reason, you know. Yeah, so it's not too complicated, and it is a short class, but it is something that's important that people don't really think about. This is what you need, man. So, not too long of a class. Do you ever TP on an NQ trade when ES hits a draw? Yes. So the time recently when ES took all-time highs and NQ didn't, I took profit because I was holding for that. So I was in on NQ, and then I didn't have a set take profit on NQ because I was waiting for ES to take all-time highs. But it's very rare that happens, for sure. Yeah, so the times that I do that is when NQ doesn't have a draw on liquidity within reach, but I know ES has a draw on liquidity that wants to book. That's when I'll like hold a runner for ES's draw on liquidity, even though I'm trading NQ. But that I can't even remember the last time I've done that outside of the most recent time with all-time highs. Like that very, very rarely happens. Any reason why you only trade NQ? Because NQ has way better price action. Like ES's best day is NQ's normal day. ES has the worst price action. So that's why. But yeah, man, I wish I could yap more, but there's no point. That's all I wanted to say about that. So apply it. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, dope. That's it for, I think, lesson 13. I'm not going to lie, we are coming to an end. I'm going to try and think of stuff to make sure I don't miss anything. But I would think there's probably like 3 or 4 classes left. And then from there, it's just like daily check-ins, weekly check-ins, things like that. So yeah, man. Catch you on the flip.